Hey everyone, I'm Alan. Welcome to Mindful Dads, and welcome to the first episode of Real Stories Uncut, where we let other people share their stories, their difficulties, and how they've grown from them difficulties. Our first guest on Real Stories is Paul Carter. I've known Paul for about 20 years, and he's kindly volunteered to share his story of his mental health difficulties and how he's grown from it. So let's dive in.
Mindful Dads.
Hey everyone, this is Paul. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
So what we're going to talk about today is just kind of giving Paul a forum to just to share his story and his difficulties over the last kind of couple of months or so. So over to you, Paul. I think my first question would be is what's led you to where you're at now? Do you want to tell everyone about what's gone on?
Yeah, I'd say that I've suffered with anxiety and depression to a certain extent for a number of years, and that was dealt with by going and seeing your GP and them giving you trying different medication. Yeah. Some agreed, some didn't agree, and then those sort of lulls just going away, through time. They weren't quite as bad, but I don't think I realised at the time that they weren't actually going. It was just building up, but maybe you weren't quite aware of it.
Yeah.
So about 4 months ago, I lost 3 weeks of memory. Now, I went off on the sick. I don't remember going off on the sick.
Yeah.
Some people have told me some stories before I went off from work that I have no memory of, which I would remember because there were quite significant things that happened.
Yeah.
I was taken to the doctor and I was dizzy. I had pain in my arms and legs. I couldn't stand or walk unaided, and immediately he thought I had a brain tumour.
Bloody hell.
That, and he came out and said it. And now I don't remember this appointment, but this is what I've been told.
Yeah.
The next thing I remember is being taken straight to hospital for a scan. Now, they'd done a scan on me and said there wasn't one, but they said what he has is he's had a mental breakdown.
Right.
So I went to counselling sessions, which I organised myself through work, but I was already aware of this particular service called Alliance.
Yeah.
So I was using that. I took some time off work. I was taking some medication, but I think it was just a plaster over it.
What do you think what looking back on what you've gone through, what do you think was the tipping point? Because we all get our stresses, don't we? All kind of have stuff that build up. What do you think tipped it over the edge for you?
I know what the straw that broke the camel's back was my partner. We found out we were pregnant and found out very early, and the hospital then said, "Oh no, you're not," after telling us we were, and that was obviously okay. But then they said, "But you need to come back because we need to check your partner over." We went back in and they said, "Oh, you might be still." So, okay, so there's a bit of hope.
Yeah.
And then we went back in and they said, there's a strong heartbeat. And then 2 weeks later we went back again and they said, "You've lost it." Okay. So it was a roller coaster ride. And during that period, my partner was in and out of hospital, very ill with the pregnancy. And it was obviously that she was, that we were losing the baby, and we've later found out that the times that we went, or the time that we went in, the last time that we went in and we were sent away being told, you're fine, it's just one of those things. That was the time that we'd actually lost it. So that was the last thing that eventually cracked with me. That was difficult to take because...
How long ago was that then?
That was about 4 months ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. So it wasn't that long afterwards that I'd gone off on the sick. After that, there's been a lot of other things through my life that have happened, and I didn't have a particularly easy job as well. It was a quite high pressured dog eat dog in office environment. So it was just all coming together, and it was. I didn't realise, like, you put your guard up and you blinker out everything, and you don't realise it's chipping away and chipping away, until I did go back to work for a time being. I then went back off again, and I hit the point about a week ago where I thought I can't carry on anymore. That I can't actually live anymore. And I did a dummy run of how I would end my life. And with that, after I'd done that, my mind was pretty made up of this is how it's going to be, because I couldn't handle the pain inside. It felt like there was pain inside and outside, physically and inside, and I couldn't cope anymore. But when I came downstairs, there was pictures of my children everywhere, and I told my partner there and then what I'd just done and what I was planning on doing, and she took me straight over to the Rosebery Park, to the crisis team, who got involved straight away. More fantastic. But it's been since I've got involved, there's still been those days where I've thought I can't carry on. Even yesterday there was points that popped up where I thought, if someone give me the choice, not me taking it now, but if you know, whatever you believe in, if there was God to say, do you want to go now, Paul? I'd say, and I just, but then the overriding guilt kicks in of what you're doing to your family, your friends and family. Obviously, I've got 2 young children, and the thought now of what I could have possibly put them through is something that is that something that
difficult. Kind of keeps you going when you're at your kind of darkest point?
Yes. I'm lucky in that I'm surrounded by them in our bedroom and the living room where we are. There's pictures of them everywhere. We can't move for pictures of them, which is great. And I'm reminded I've got them on my watch.
Right.
I've got them on my other wrist. I've got them tattooed all over me. You know, I can't get away from them. And my 8-year-old Eliza has now got a mobile phone.
Right.
So she thinks that they think I've got the flu because they haven't seen me for 6 days because they couldn't see me in the state that I was in. But she's been messaging me, and it's them and my partner that keep me going. I'd have to say, if it wasn't for my partner, I'm not sure if I'd be here. She's the one who spotted signs in me. She's the one who's looked after me. She's the one who's carried me, I'd say, in the last so many months. So I don't know what I would have done without her. Well, I sort of do, but it's been just one dark thought after another. And I was then diagnosed with clinical depression, post-traumatic syndrome, or PTSD is what the and severe anxiety. And the anxiety is something that I find very difficult to control. The doctors are trying to find a balance for me medication wise. I'm trying to help myself by staying fit. I'd go to boxing a couple of times a week. I go to a class, and then I go with a friend, and he's as competitive as me, so we push each other, and you come out with a sense of achievement, and a few bruises as well. But and things like when I feel those dark moments coming on now, is we'll go for a walk and get some fresh air. That tends to help me.
What when you say dark moments? What are, because I sometimes, particularly with those blokes, a lot of blokes don't talk to them, and those dark moments stay dark moments in my mind. What are those dark moments, if you want to share them?
It started off with me, I'd say, this was probably before we'd lost the babies, before I knew we were pregnant as well. So this is something that's, been building up in me for a long time through various other things that have happened in my life, which I've spoke to a counsellor about and gone through. But it started off the dark moments with every night without fail, I'd say for the last 6 to 9 months, every night I would pray that I wasn't going to wake up.
Yeah.
And I mean pray. I would lay in bed, close my eyes, I'd say night to my partner, but I'd then turn around and I'd say, just take me now.
Yeah.
I can't go on another day. And you'd wake up and do it again. But I always used to say, but I won't do anything silly. When I did eventually start sharing, I was having those thoughts. I was saying, I won't do anything silly, I promise, because I've got the kids. And then I was going to do something stupid. And it breaks my heart that I was going to do that to them, that they wouldn't have had the dad. I can't believe that I actually thought about doing that in a way, but that's how everything's had a route where it started off smaller and probably could have got nipped in the bud earlier, but it hasn't, and it's grew and it's got worse. It's gone from low moods and anxiety a few years ago to this point, and then it's gone in this extent. It's gone from wishing I didn't wake up to actually planning on ending my own life.
So you're going through quite dark times at the moment, aren't you, over the last kind of 6 months or so? But has this been something which has been years and years?
Yeah, this has been years and years. I mean, my employment's never helped. I've never gone out and chosen a job.
Yeah.
It's always found me. And I've never been proud of anything I've done in terms of the job that I do, because it's normally been, it's jobs that need doing in society, like I was a PlayStation solicitor, so I was defending people in the PlayStation who were, and I don't mean to put it, but I've done it for 5 years, I have a lot of experience. More often than not, they were guilty, and you'd get police officers quite often saying, how do you sleep at night? And at the time, it was like, I sleep quite well, thanks very much, and you were getting paid pretty well, but it did chip away at your conscience. And when people asked me what I did, I was a bit embarrassed to say what I did. I wasn't proud of it. And then I went to, from then on, to work for council tax, for Middlesbrough Council. And we live in the most deprived area in the country. And council tax obviously is not something people really want to pay. And my job became dealing with the most difficult customers. So when the front line couldn't deal with an aggressive customer, it was me that then took over. So that started chipping away. So there was a moment a young man came in and chased a female across the foyer. Our security guard hid in the toilet. I intervened, got the public and the staff away, and told them to phone the police while I had him sort of cornered. But in the most non-threatening way I could, and he pulled scissors on me.
Right.
It took 20 minutes for the police to get there, so that's a long time to be talking to a man who holding a pair of scissors, so saying he's going to stab you. But he then instead self-harmed, so I'm in a corner with him while he cut chunks and chunks and chunks out of his arms. There was skin, lumps of skin and on the floor and blood everywhere. And that was my job, you know, dealing with people. That was obviously one of the more extreme matters, but every day I was called, I was abused. I listened to my colleagues being abused, and
It takes its toll.
it takes its toll, and I've realised it's not my personality. My personality is to help people, and that's what I've decided I want to do going forward. So for my next career choice, when I make that, it's going to be something where I help people. I'd ideally like to work in the NHS, that sort of profession, so I know I'm helping people, because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's got lost over the years, because there's the pressure to provide for your family, so you just take any job that's offered to you. You know, there isn't a great deal of jobs out there, we know that. So if a job's offered to you for a certain amount of money and you've got children and whatnot, then you just take it. And I've realised that's been the wrong decision, and I've now realised that it is actually, it's an old saying, but health before wealth.
Yeah.
Because that's been a major contributing factor in my illness. As I say,
What message do you... You've obviously kind of seen some of the content that we're being putting out, and it's all about kind of what you can learn from the shit in your life, what you can learn from the kind of the difficult stuff that happens to us. I know you're still going through a lot of stuff, and you're still kind of facing them dark times, but what have you learned up to now? Because we still learn stuff as we're kind of going through our difficulties, don't we? What have you learned from
that there is more help out there than you actually realise. And the second thing, that there's more people going through what you're going through than you realise too. In terms of help, as I say, I've used Alliance Healthcare for counselling sessions, and they've been very good. Obviously people can go to the GP, and there's some good GPs out there, and then it's been brought more into the forefront of people's mind, mental health now, which is, I don't think was the case even 3 years ago. I remember you starting your job, and I knew very little about it when you were bringing us into certain activities and football things to promote it. I knew very little about it then. So it's learning about that, and learning, I'd say the main thing was about the crisis team. Do people know that that's there? You just have to go to Rosebery Park. You don't need an appointment. You go there and they'll help you. They'll assess you. You might have to wait, you know, but it's not like A&E. It's a much more comfortable environment.
It's almost like an A&E for mental health problems, isn't it?
That's exactly what it's like, but without that.
Without the chaos.
That's exactly what it is. It was much more comfortable, and I felt at ease when I was in there to answer the difficult questions I was getting asked. And they started right back from your childhood going forward to today, you know, and finding certain triggers that you wouldn't have thought with things.
What would you say was been your biggest triggers then through?
Self-criticism, oversensitive, lack of confidence. I know you've known me a long time, and these are all things that I don't think people associate with me.
No, I suppose the time I've known you, we've known each other, nearly knocking on 20 years.
Yeah.
And you've always been kind of a bubbly, outgoing, wear your heart in your sleeve kind of guy. So seeing you in the situation that you're in is quite, it's different for me to see you in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you said there, wear my heart on my sleeve. That's one thing. I haven't got a poker face. If I'm having a bad day, the whole world knows I'm having a bad day. You know, I can't hide it. I just don't have that in me. But like I say, what I've learned is that if you go and see these people, they know exactly the right things to ask you, and they find what's causing things. So as I say, I'm trying not to, as this is obviously a public forum, I don't want to blame a certain people and upset people and that sort of thing. Yeah. But something came out about from being young, being called a thicko.
Right.
Up until now. So from a young age up until now, being told that you're not very bright. Whether that's in jest, tongue in cheek, and so it chips away, and it obviously had, and I hadn't realised that, but when they ask these certain questions, this is what comes out, and it makes you sit back and think, oh my God, I've been holding on to that all that time, and I had no idea. And
we don't realise, do we, the amount of stuff that we hold on to through childhood, through adolescence, and then forget about it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's just still in your body.
Well, what I got when I was going through the counselling sessions with the Lions, which have just been postponed while I'm with the crisis team now, I got described as a rescuer.
Right.
And that I took people's problems on. I struggle with that a little bit because I do. That's exactly what I do. Yeah. But I don't think I want to lose that part of me. So I need to find the balance.
Balance, isn't it? Yeah.
I like that part of me. I like that people feel that they can come to me and I'll help them.
But if we're not sorting ourselves,
well, that's it.
How can we help another?
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Bang on. This week, I'd say I'd be no use to anyone. You know, I've been looked after by my partner almost like she was looking after a child. You know, and that's the next thing I have to deal with now. Although I get told off for it because it has been brought up, but I still have guilt for that. I also have guilt that I haven't seen my children for 6 days because I couldn't let them see me this way. So I have a lot of guilt inside me now, and it's like you move from one thing to the next thing, and it's trying to process it all properly to get to a point where you're stronger and happier. Like I said, I'm trying everything I can to help myself.
Is this a bad thing that's happening to you, or is it a good thing?
A bit of both.
What's the bad bit that's happening?
The bad bit is the pain.
Yeah.
The pain, the overriding pain is it's difficult to describe to people what the pain is. The best way I can put it is feeling exhausted but wanting to scratch the pain off the walls at the same time, with your heart pounding out of your chest, your legs aching and your arms aching, and that's how it feels a lot of the day, of large parts of the day. And it's trying to find moments to calm yourself down and little bits like that. The positive that's coming out of it is, one, I've been made aware of these things that are there to help us, that I wasn't. I said, I didn't know you could just walk into Rosebery Park and they would be prepared to help you like that. A year or so ago, I wasn't aware of a lion who ran through the NHS. I thought that was a private thing, and they'll help you. So, and also social media. There's so much help on social media that people don't realise.
What stuff do you use? Social media wise, what's been helpful for you?
The biggest help for me has been Twitter. Now, I used to have a perception of it because my partner used it a lot for football and things, and she's a journalist, and she'd get a lot of abuse off Borough fans now and then, I used to call it twatter.
Right.
Because, it just seemed that sort of thing. It was abusive, and I wouldn't go on it for that reason. And then when I got ill, she said, just use it, just have a little go, and she pointed me in a few people she was following. And she's got some experience in it herself, in mental health issues. And all of a sudden you found these doors opening to people who were going through the same as you, or are running things to help people. And that's been a really comforting thing. I mean, I've had strangers messaging me even last night. I'd call them strangers, I've never met them, but they're talking to me like they've known me for years about my illness and their illness, because they're going through the same thing. So what's working for you? Well, it's this and this. What's working for me? Well, it's going out and getting some fresh air, it's going and doing some exercise, it's knowing when to rest, and it's talking. The main thing people don't do is talk, and that's one thing that's come out from me is if I could give myself some advice, which to a younger Paul is not to bottle things up. I bottled things up for 20 years, and that's what's coming out now.
Were you ever a talker back in your 20s, or is it something, as the talking bit and expressing yourself through that kind of way, is that a new thing now?
I was always a talker.
But talking about your feelings, talking about what's...
Not mine, no, I'd express anger. I'd do it in the way, I'd express it in the way, like the alpha male type way, where you wouldn't be ashamed. So if I'd be at work and see something I didn't like, I'd be effing and blinding and, saying my disapproval of this, that and the other. But things that hurt me, no.
It wouldn't come out. Just
not coming out, because I'm not letting anyone know that I've got a weakness, or that's how it felt at the time, that you had a weakness. If you told someone that you were having those sort of thoughts, or that you were upset, or that, about a year ago, up until a year ago, I used to proudly say, and now I'm shaking my head now because I can't believe I proudly said this because it's ridiculous. But I used to say, I can count on one hand how many times I've cried. I used to say that a year ago, and I used to say it like a badge of honour.
Yeah.
What a dickhead. There's nothing wrong with crying. It lets it out.
Yeah, it's just it's energy leaving the body, isn't it?
And what I've done over all those years is I haven't let it out. I've kept it in, and that's what's brought me to this now.
Yeah.
And it's brought me to the point where I wanted to leave my children behind, and that breaks my heart. So, some of it I've brought on myself. Some of it I think some people might have wronged me. I'm not going to apportion blame. Maybe I should have dealt with things differently. But I have been a pushover for people in the past. I think people have seen the fact that I'm helpful and I'll do this, that and the other. And I've been taken for a ride by some people. And my good nature's been taken advantage of, and when it has, and I've realised what's happened, it's cut me and it's hurt me. and it's really upset me, and then I've locked it away and haven't told anyone, and it's only in the last few months that I'm getting it off my chest now and starting to tell professionals mainly and to my partner some of the stuff that's happened to me. And
how does that, because I suppose,
is the honest answer.
you know, when
I know it will, because I'm prepared to take it on. I know I've got back. I know people have got my back now. I know I've got professional assistance. And I might need a bit of guidance and how to get there. And I know I'm going to be stronger for it. And it's almost like doing this as well. I told you I wanted to do this because I wanted people to know that they're not on their own. And like we just said, we mentioned my persona. A lot of people on social media have only seen that persona. And they'll have only seen all the nice pictures that me and my partner put up there, if it was in the kids and the so it might be an eye opener to people to see me like this and think, this can happen to anyone. This, you don't have to be a tough guy or anything like that.
no one's immune to mental health difficulties, no one's immune to trauma and all that type of stuff.
No, I think the world's getting harder. It's a tougher place than I've known. I don't know whether social media plays a part in that, because it's made the world smaller. You're open to criticism a lot, and that's something I struggle with now. But it's just something that's built up over such a long period of time. Like there's moments popping in my head that I could tell you, but I wouldn't want to share them, because I wouldn't want to publicly chastise or criticise someone who I feel's wronged me. So instead, I choose to look at it in, right, how should I have dealt with that differently? Instead of putting the blame on them, how should I have dealt with it differently? And that's what I'm processing at the minute. How should I have done things? I mean, moving forward, that's what I'm doing to get. I'm looking forward to things. That's how I'm getting by. We've got a little holiday planned. We're going to Ireland for a few days. I'm just taking it a few days at a time, and it's like just putting something there, and that's what I'm aiming for. We went out yesterday and we went to a restaurant when I started feeling low and dark. It didn't quite work. Restaurant was empty, hardly anyone there. I almost stripped off to my pants. The sweat was dripping off me, and it was freezing. It's February, January. It's cold, and I was struggling being in an open place. And again, that's something that's not like me. I'm not someone who would normally struggle in a social situation, but I don't go to the pub anymore. I mean, I was someone who's known as a heavy drinker or a good drinker, I like to drink. I never drink now. Don't touch it.
What would you say is the positives that's come? I know you're still going through kind of a lot of difficulties, but what would you say is the three main things that has changed you for the better? Whether that be a personal, whether it be kind of something that you're doing, or
it's made me appreciate my partner a hell of a lot more. And I'm not for one second did I not appreciate her, but for what she's done for me, it's brought us even closer together. I'm realising now, even though I'm talking about having these dark moments and these struggles, I'm realising how strong I actually am. I'm stronger than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Um,
And how have you realised that you're stronger than you thought you were?
because I've picked myself up from the absolute bottom, the rock bottom. You know, you know you've hit rock bottom when you hit it, and I did. You know, I wanted to end my life.
Yeah.
And I've got a 5 and a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
There's no rational thought in that. I'm the proudest dad in the world, you know, and what was I thinking? I wasn't. And now I've got myself in a position where I'm ready to start being a dad again.
Yeah.
And I've done that in a quick space of time, you know, like I've gone from 6 days ago wanting to end my life to today. I want to be a dad.
Cool.
I want to be there for my kids. You know, they talk to me, they look up to me, and I want to be that dad for them.
What would
I know I can do it, and that's what I'm proud of. I've found out I'm stronger than I ever give myself credit for.
Would you say, you know, when your kids are up and they're adults, what would you say to your kids?
If they ever went through anything like this, I'd tell them my whole experience. I'd tell them everything. They are only 5 and 8, and in a lot of situations I treat them like adults because that's just how I think it should be.
Yeah.
Seeing me in the position I am now is not something a child should be seeing.
No.
So they've been protected from that. But when they're grown up, if it ever comes to light that they ever struggle, I will be in a position to help them, share my experiences and look after them. In a way that I don't think I'm particularly getting, because people don't know how to do it, because they haven't been through it. Some people haven't been through it. So that's not me having to go at my parents saying that they can't do it for me. They just haven't been through the same thing. It's to do with your experience. So I know I could do that, and I know that when they're adults, I'll be in a position where I'll have even more knowledge, because this has now become, because I've been affected by it, it's now something I'm passionate about. So I'm prepared to help people once I've helped myself, not to my own detriment, but I will help people for years to come now. And I've done that. You've seen it on social media, on Facebook and Twitter. I've shared things on there, feelings that a lot of people I don't think would dare do. And I don't. I'm not being arrogant saying that. I don't think.
No, that's the bravery of it all, isn't it? That's the courage in these situations, particularly blokes, particularly in Northern England, in one of the poorest areas in the country. Is men tend not to express themselves in the way that you just expressed yourself.
Yeah.
So it is sending a message out that, you know, it's all right to express yourself in this way, because this strength comes from this, doesn't it? Not weakness.
That's exactly what it is. That's what people need to know, is your mental illness isn't a weakness. It's exactly what it says in that word. It's an illness. You know, there's chemical imbalances in there that, you know, it's opening my eyes to all this. I didn't know that before. I thought, you know, having a mental illness meant you were weak in some way. I didn't know anything about chemical imbalances in it, and you know, and trauma. And a lot of mine is, there's been a lot of trauma in my life leading up to this point, but I didn't know how to process and deal with it, so it got locked away. And when I spoke to my counsellor about it, we hit a point where we pretty much covered
every traumatic event that had happened to me. And she sat back in a chair. She went, right, if you get a 38-year-old man and then you, and put you with a shopping basket and walk through life, she went, this man here is sauntering along. She said, the trauma, the things that you've told me, you cannot push that trolley any further.
Yeah.
Because it's had too much put in it. And that, you know, when she described it that way to me, it hit home, and I was thinking, yeah, that's why I've stopped. That's why suddenly I can't go on, because I can't move it. I can't. So now the only way I know it's a bit analytical, or I'm just picking bits out of it now. So, right, what's bothered me here? Right, process it, talk about it with either the counsellor or with my partner. Or in some instances, some things I've just got to let go.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about some things.
Some things, when I say I feel like I've been wronged, I've just got to forgive and forget. Some things I've held on to a bit like a bitter pill.
And sometimes it's quite healing, isn't it, to forgive the situation?
Yeah.
Without them situations, you wouldn't be the person that you are today. You wouldn't have the beautiful children that you have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So sometimes kind of having our difficult situations has put us on the path that we're on.
That's it. And I think I'm going to be on the right path now, and the positives that we're trying to get out of this now, because it has been the most negative period of my life.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do is turn it into a positive. And what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to do something that I'm proud to do, and I'm going to help people. And that's what I want my profession to be, whatever that may be, but that's what I want to be doing. And then also, as a friend, as family, as be someone who people can go, I can give Paul a ring. He knows about this, he's been through it. And know that they can call me. I think people know I'm fairly approachable. I mean, I had a message this morning of somebody saying their friend was going through a difficult time that sounded similar to something I'd posted. What did I advise them to do? What options does this person have? And I was able to list the things we've talked about today.
Exactly.
And they had no idea about these things, so that's where it feels good. It feels good to get that out.
It's putting the jigsaw piece together, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
My last question, Paul, is, I know you mentioned earlier around what would you tell your past self, the 20-year-old, what advice would you give? What would you, right now, what do you think your future self would say?
To my past self.
To the self that you're here right now.
How did you let yourself get here? I think it'd be
And what advice would your future self give you right now?
Let it go. Talk. I can't emphasise how important it is to talk.
Yeah.
It's such a release to get it off your chest, whatever's eating you up. You can sit there and it'll chew you, and it'll chew you, and it'll chew you. Just talk to someone. Most of us are lucky enough to have someone we can talk to, friends or family.
Yeah.
But if you don't, there's professionals there that can help. So there's no getting away from it. There is always someone, whether it's the crisis team, the Samaritans, and there's so many charity organisations. And as I say, if anyone wanted to contact me, I've now got contacts on Twitter and that of people who've said, I'll talk to you anytime. Yeah. And you can see that they've put that on their profile. They're prepared to help people just from the phone. They'll sit there from home and, you know, give advice because they've been through it. I'll do the same for other people. So that's what I'd...
That's the message.
That's the message, is talk to people and get it off your chest. Do not let it chew you up. And if you ever get to the point where you think you're too tired to go on, not that you want to harm yourself or anything, start there.
Yeah.
I should have started there. Go for help from there. So when that point hit, when I was going to bed at night thinking, yeah, I'm tired now, I don't need to wake up in the morning. That's the point I should have got things sorted.
So step by step, day by day, when people are in them difficult situations.
It is. It's seeing the signs. So the signs are you unnecessarily angry? You know, are you short-tempered? You know, there's a sign that I had, you know, that I didn't see. You know, are you getting teary for almost no reason? Can you not be bothered getting out of bed each day? Are you feeling like, I don't want to carry on?
Yeah.
All these things coming are all signs that you need to just go and see someone. You could go start with your GP and they can push you in the right direction. Or, you know, there's so many avenues there.
There's lots out there.
There's a lot, and I'm sure we are on. You know, on your when you're sharing this, you've got websites and contacts and things that you can put on there for people to see. You know, where to contact.
Yeah.
You know, I can do the same. I can tell people, this is the phone number you call if you feel this way. This is the team you contact if you feel this way. You know, it's about getting that message across to people.
But you're not on your own.
You're not on your own, and there's absolutely no shame in it whatsoever that you feel that way. And there's none. So that's
Paul,
right.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'd both love to hear any comments with regards to what we've talked about today. See you soon.
Thank you.
Mindful Dads.